Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. It's a great honor to be here to talk about the human-machine interface based on the flexible electronics. Um, we believe that the human-machine interface is a very, very critical part, even for auto tech and also robotics. Just in case you had no idea about Royole Corporation, I wanted to give a little bit of introduction about the company first. So we founded a company about 5 years ago with two of my Stanford alumni um, with the focus on the human-machine interface to improve the way people interact with the world. And our main technologies are focused on the flexible displays, flexible sensors, flexible electronics, and later also some virtual reality device. And we raised about 5 rounds of funding from global investors, with the most recent valuation of $3 billion in last October. And we have office in Silicon Valley and also in Shenzhen, Hong Kong. So let's talk about the history of human evolution first. As you probably know that millions of years ago, we are very different from today. And there's a lot of things changing along the way. And people are wondering what would be the human look like maybe in the next 50 years. Some people are just thinking maybe we can fly with wings, but that doesn't happen today. What you could see is we're more probably like back to millions of years ago, walk like an ape because of the smartphones. Everyone now live on the smartphone, live on the small screen or the pad screen. So that is actually how technology changed the way we live in the world. About 10 years ago, actually 11 years ago, when I was still a PhD student in Stanford, we were thinking what we should do to improve the way people interact with the world. And actually, if you think about the traditional technologies on the way people interact with nature, with people, or with the world, there are a lot of different technologies, visual technologies, sound technologies, touch technologies. But visual technology is definitely one of the most important things because visual information occupies 70% of our information received every day. And if you look back to the display history, you can see that main conflict for the visual technologies is the conflict between large screen visual experience and the portability. Think about your smartphone. It's very, very convenient. It's portable, but the screen is just too small. So we're all thinking like watch TV at home or watch movies in the movie theater to get the large screen visual experience. So we came up with the idea about a flexible display, to combine the portability and the large screen into a single device. And then we started working on the fundamental research. I graduated in 2009, and then I joined IBM in New York for about 3 years. In 2012, two of my friends from Stanford and Tsinghua worked together with me to start this company called the Royole Corporation. And in the beginning, we pretty much put all the focus on the flexible displays. And 4 years later, we have grew the company from 3 people to over 1,000 people globally from 15 different countries. So we have operations in different locations, and we're trying to assemble all the talents, all the resources into the platform to develop the new technology and products. And this is the Flexible Display International Center we are still working on right now in Shenzhen. It's under construction, which will be completed by the end of this year. And then we should have the capacity to provide 15 million flexible display panels for different applications. And this is just a campus overview. So get back to the future of information technologies. We believe there are 3 major technologies for the future of information technology. Number one is the human-machine interface. We call it HMI. That is a very, very critical part in almost every industry. And then number 2 is the artificial intelligence. And number 3 is Internet of Things. There are a lot of overlapping areas between these technologies. Our focus is mainly on the human-machine interface. So let me talk a little bit more about the flexible display and the sensor and the smart device. What you can see here is the flexible display we announced about 3 years ago. And you can see that a 0.01 millimeter flexible display, it's super thin, it's flexible, and it's foldable and rollable. And the form factor is totally different from traditional displays. And actually, this display has been connected to the smartphone, so you can see that all of the operation manual is shown on the flexible film. And actually, you can also roll it to a small bending radius of only 1 millimeter, which means you can actually pull out of the flexible display from a narrow slot and expand it to a large screen for your smartphone applications, for your pad, and maybe for other applications too, including robotics. So you can see that the display is actually rolled back to this narrow slot and then pulled out. That is already connected to the smartphone. So beyond the flexible, this is a display connected to the phone. And beyond the flexible display, we also have the flexible sensor technologies, which means we can fabricate millions of small tiny sensors on top of the flexible transparent film. And then you can actually integrate that kind of sensor to many different surfaces. For example, your clothes, your pants, your shoes, and your tablecloths, your carpet, your sofa, everywhere. And let me just give you a few examples of how you use this kind of human-machine interface for different applications. This one we call it a flex foam application. Actually, you can roll the display or sensors back to a small diameter, and then you can put it out. And you have all the circuit sensors on top of the film. And for vehicle applications, basically you can integrate the flexible electronics to different areas in the car. This is for the dashboard application, and you can see that there's basically no physical button on top of the flexible dashboard. This is a real prototype. It's not just concept. And you can see the displays, the sensors, the controls, everything is on the panel. Actually, this year at the CES in Las Vegas, we announced the Flexor Foam, which can be bendable onto the wrist. And then you can also put it straight, just like a traditional smartphone. If you go to our website, you should see that prototype too. And you can also integrate this flexible electronics to smart home appliance, for example, like traditional cups. It looks like a traditional cup, but actually around the cup, there's flexible electronics there, and you can control the brightness, the color, temperature, and many other things. You can also integrate some electronic functions into the surface, and then interact with your smartphone or with some other home electronics. And this is an example for sportswear application, a fashion application based on the flexible electronics. And you can see that apparently you can't see the flexible sensors of flexible electronics from the back, but actually you can control the indicators or the display on the back using the flexible film on the belt. And this one actually won the CES Innovation Award this year. So beyond all of these applications, you can also actually integrate the flexible electronics into architecture design and the robotic design. Here, you can see that you can integrate the flexible film with the electronic functions onto the leather. It looks like a traditional leather, just like a sofa surface, but you have electronic functions on top. And basically, you can touch it, you can control a lot of things. In our office, a lot of, like the light or curtain are actually controlled by this kind of flexible electronics. It's invisible, it's transparent. So there are many different applications. We call it flexible electronics plus many different industrial applications. And in Royole, our philosophy is trying to do both the innovation and also the manufacturing or production uh, on two sides. We develop the flexible displays and the sensors and also smart devices based on this kind of new technologies. At the same time, we're trying to, do the production for each technology. And just add one more point about the smart device side. We have developed this 3D virtual mobile theater called the Royole Moon. The first generation is called the Royole X in 2015. And it just simulates a 3D IMAX-like movie theater experience when you put it on the device. It looks like a traditional VR device, but it's not. And we have very, very high resolution display there. And you could put it on for maybe 2 hours for a long movie. And most traditional VR, because of the low resolution display, you can basically stand too long for the device. And this is very different. And we also have a noise canceling headphone to make the device really immersive experience. And you can also use it for gaming applications. And we put it on just like sitting in a movie theater. Maybe you can actually adjust the location in the movie theater. So it's particularly useful for travel applications or someone staying at home alone. And also it's foldable design. So basically, we're trying to use all of these innovations to combine the portability and the large screen visual experience into a single device, like I mentioned in the beginning. And this is not just the display. It's actually a very complete device with the operating system inside. So basically, you can watch movies, you can listen to music, you can surf the internet. You can do a lot of things just like a traditional smartphones or PC. And we also have our flexible sensors integrated to the device for control. And currently, the devices have been sold to many different places, over 20 countries in the world. So with all of this, I want to thank you for your attention.